Normally I drink my coffee during the day and I drink my wine at night, but this is a wine that means I may not have to choose. This is an espresso-infused ice wine. This little bottle is from a winery called Cask 307, which is in the Grand River Valley region of Ohio. This winery opened in 2019, and while they produce a variety of different winemaking styles, this one here is an ice wine made from a grape called Vidal Blanc. So to break down exactly what is going on in this bottle, let's start with ice wine. So ice wine is a style of winemaking that is thought to have originated in the 1790s in Germany. Typically with wine, the grapes grow on the vines and then they're picked and made into wine. But with ice wine, the grapes are actually left to hang on the vines longer than you would normally want them to into the very first frost of the season. And the grapes actually freeze on the vine. And when this happens, the water inside the grapes freezes into ice, and so when the grapes are picked and crushed while they're still frozen, the juice that is left inside the grapes is super concentrated because all the water is ice, and that is separated from the super concentrated high acid, high sugar juice. And that's what's used to make the wine. So if you ever buy a bottle of ice wine, they're gonna be in super skinny bottles because the juice is just a lot less. Winemakers don't have to add extra sugar to this wine. The sugars that are in the sweet wine are just naturally occurring from the juice. And this style of winemaking is really popular in colder regions in Germany and France, but it's also really popular in Canada and the northern United States, in states like Ohio, where they get frosts that can freeze the grapes. But in the northern United States, a lot of the grapes that they use for ice wine are Native American hybrid grapes. And so these are grapes that are crossed from grape species that are native to the US and European styles of grapes, oftentimes French styles of grapes. And so that's what this bottle here is. It is a Vidal Blanc made as an ice wine. Vidal Blanc was a grape that was actually developed in France by a guy named Jean-Louis Vidal, and its original purpose was to be used for cognac. But because this grape has such thick skins, it became really popular in regions like Canada and the northern United States. Because of its thick skins, it can actually grow longer without rotting. Things like humidity and frost don't impact it as much because these skins act as a barrier, whereas thinner skinned grapes may be more susceptible to humidity and rot. Vidal Blanc is naturally higher in acidity, which is really good for sweet wine because if the wine is just sweet, it just tastes like a sugar bomb, but the acid helps balance out some of the sweetness. It can be made in a variety of styles and has flavors like pineapple, grapefruit, pear, and honeysuckle. It's also pretty well regarded as being one of the hybrids that doesn't have that really foxy taste that sometimes hybrids get criticized for. It's really popular in ice wine making in the northern United States and Canada, and so that's what Cask 307 decided to do. But they decided to take it a step even further. So this particular ice wine here is infused with Sumatra coffee beans, which were roasted at a local Ohio coffee shop called Scribbler's. So the ice wine was left to sit with the coffee beans, which is going to impart a coffee flavor into this wine. But I am so excited to try this wine here, so let's open it up and give it a taste. Today I have a little baby glass that I picked up at a wine tasting because this is going to be really sweet. Oftentimes with ice wines, you don't want to have a full giant glass of them. I'm smelling notes of like honey and apricot and just like a little hint of coffee. So the coffee on this is pretty subtle, but it's really nice. It balances out some of the really sweet flavors that are in this wine. This almost has like a affogato or tiramisu taste to it, like a coffee cream. The little bit of essence of coffee, which balances out the sweetness in the wine, rather than it being full, in-your-face espresso martini flavored. But this one here is actually really balanced in an interesting way because the ice wine means that there's a lot of sugar in this. This is going to be sweet. It's naturally occurring sugar, but it's high in sugar. And then the acid in the Vidal Blanc is high as well, which is balancing out the sugar. So it's not just a flat sugar bomb, but then the coffee adds just a little bit of bitterness. A lot of times in wine, you'll get some bitterness from the phenolics, especially in red wine, like the skin in the grape. but this ice wine wouldn't have a lot of those naturally, and so the coffee just adds a little bit of that balance there. This bottle of wine here is totally unexpected. It's unlike anything I've seen before, and that's exactly what I love about the exciting side of American winemaking. There's really not a lot of rules around what you can and cannot do, and so I love that this winery here decided to experiment and pair two of America's favorite beverages, wine and coffee, to make this sweet little dessert drink here. And to me, this is more than just something goofy or a gimmick. This is really showing the variety of different things that we can do and is pushing the boundaries on what is allowed within the category of wine. But it does beg the question, is this a morning beverage or an evening beverage? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're curious about more of the wild and off the beaten path side of American wine, be sure to subscribe and follow along. There's so much more to discover on this journey. So until next time, cheers!